Meta, these advantage suite of things is taking away control and selling this idea that the algorithm is better anyway, which it is, giving enough
It
fuel.
is, or it will be on a long enough timeline. I don't think that can be argued. I think anybody who argues that they'd beat like $1 trillion AI, it's a stupid argument.
Yeah.
The question to ask though is when we talk about better, it's like, well, whose KPI? Because whose best interest does Meta have at heart, mine or Meta's? So, and what is it getting better at doing?
I think it's naive to think they aren't intertwined.
I agree, but it used to be that you really could arbitrage. You had leverage. Like you could make very real money running paid ads in both Google and Meta. And what's happening fast is where Meta and Google sees margin. It's the Jeff Bezos quote, your margin is my opportunity. They eat that margin. They're like, oh, making a ton of money in this industry. This is great. That traffic is now more expensive, sir. And they squeeze you all the way up until you're just happy enough not to quit. But we're not getting the 5,000x. Dude, we used to. You remember those days? Like, holy shit. Used to be able to mint money, but when they applied, that's the inflection point too. That was the event horizon. As soon as they applied, it was Google Smart Shopping. As soon as they applied AI-driven media buy, the margin went to them. Google has minimum threshold for traffic when there's no competition. You could be the only human bidding on a key phrase, which in an auction, that means that should be a penny, right? And it's not. You could still pay $30 a click. Why? Because Google has these minimum thresholds. How are those set? Because Google knows what you make. So Google eats the margin. Facebook eats the margin.
But it doesn't. I mean, you're taking the what is in it for the brand and the media buyers and like optimizing and being the only one doing this thing. That's not any advertising platform's goal. Theirs is optimizing customer experience and making sure that the best product and the
I don't
best
think that's their
message.
goal. I think their goal is revenue. I think their goal is to maximize the value of their inventory.
Oh, you're so crass.
No, mate. How do they maximize their inventory? Having more people on the
Maximize
platform
the
for
value of their
longer.
inventory means they get the most money for the most amount of inventory over the longest period of time.
How do they increase inventory?
Well, this is where it gets interesting because now we talk about if you're maximizing the customer's experience, is a person's experience maximized by spending more time in Meta?
Yeah.
No,
Infinity.
Meta is improved. The human, I bet you there's data on this. I bet you suicide rates go up. Like, really, if we don't talk about like improving people's quality, like they don't care. That's not a KPI for them. They want to maximize the value of their inventory. And maybe do they want more inventory? Sure. But that also, I don't think really stems from the advertisers much at all outside of they just don't want to melt people with ads.
Well, they want to show people ads that are relevant to them that
Sure. I
doesn't
agree with
hurt
that.
the customer experience. And Meta is saying that Instagram usage has increased 24% by having Reels is another data point that the customer experience has improved on Instagram, which means there's more inventory. Now it's in a different space. It's in Reels, which they're saying like 30% of the time is spent on Reels. There's probably tons of inventory there now. Here's your blue ocean, since I know we're seafarers around here. Like, I think it is crass to think that it is driven or solely based off of a revenue target and not seeing that the revenue target is a trailing indicator for a better customer experience.
Well, I think the revenue target, I'm not saying they're trying to go for a Q4 pop. I would accept that there's a sophistication behind long-term planning, but the long-term planning would still be based off of profitability. And that profitability planning is built into the fact that even though we saw a 20 or 30% increase in real traffic, my question is well, why didn't that impact CPMs then? Because as in any organic market with an increase in supply, you should see a decrease in pricing, right? Unless the demand is kept up with the supply. But it sounds like it's not because the very first tip we gave to perpetual traffic listeners was, hey, nobody else is doing this. And yet CPMs don't seem to have moved.
Those who are using advantage placements, their CPMs drop.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that'll be a question to see whether or not that changes as more people move to advantage.
Yeah.
That is an interesting point, actually, is that and we saw this, and I think in our last review, is I haven't empirically proven this, but like CPMs have decreased on Meta. Oh my God, they actually have. And it's because of a lot of these tools overall. Like this was, believe it or not, that is counterintuitive because we always sort of say on this show, CPMs continue to increase no matter what. Ad costs aren't getting any cheaper. Well, there was a chart that we were shown that actually showed that yes, CPMs actually have decreased. And I wonder
Which would
if
make
it is
sense based off of what Tom's saying. There's more inventory.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly because of Advantage Plus, and now Reels is a new, literally like that's a whole other inventory supply, which has almost unlimited opportunity, at least for right now.
Well,
And
but then the question is, does Meta end up eating the margin? It's too early to tell. My guess is yes. Tom says no.